Hey everybody, Erica here from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I wanted to wish a happy Thanksgiving to my Canadian friends and viewers, and happy Indigenous Day to those of us to your southern border, Canada. Uh, a couple of things. First off, will this in the Middle East stick? Because it's looking kind of iffy. Will the peace pact between Hamas and Israel stick? Hamas is already saying, okay, we released those prisoners, but there's things that we want that haven't been given, and so we're not sure. And well, Netanyahu's a whole another thing. So I just want to know, will the peace plan stick? I'm old enough to remember when the Nobel was won by um, President Carter, along with Yasser Arafat of the Palestine Liberation Army organization, and Anwar Sadat of Egypt. So that was a long time ago, and really, did that peace plan stick? So let's use the ring as the contract to have peace, and that'll be the focus card. Okay. Will the peace pact stick? Glad the hostages have been released. That's great. Remember, we're looking for the ring. There we go. Oops. Okay. So we have the snake, we have the tower, we have the ring that stands for the peace pact, we have the house, and we have the scales. So, the first thing that I notice is that I can mirror the snake, which is a problem with this peace plan. They've maybe done, I think it's a 10-point plan, and they've done point one, which is the release of the hostage. Well, what about the other 9 points? Uh, so whether or not justice can be done to both sides, it's questionable. In fact, I would go so far as to say justice will not be done to both sides. That Israel, of course, has been advantaged in this peace plan. It's very odd that the felon has gone from Egypt, from Israel. He'll be going to Egypt, and that's when he will sign his portion of this thing. But meanwhile, there's no representative from Hamas, nor will Netanyahu be there. So what is he really signing? So this whole thing looks bogus to me. Um, This is a way of using his government office, essentially to line his own pocket. This is where 40 the felon lives. So, but let's draw some clarifiers. So, again, the longevity, that's the tree, health and longevity of this peace process is in question. There are problems. Uh, So whether or not there will be peace is really iffy because you've got some bad actors. We know that what Netanyahu wants is to allow um, the felon to the felon and his son-in-law Jared Kushner to turn Gaza into a seaside resort. Meanwhile, what happens to all of the Gazans, the Palestinians? So this is not to be trusted, especially when you can mirror together this snake and this fox. Doesn't look good for the um, longevity of this peace process. Okay, second card is the tower, and the clarifiers are the garden, the bouquet, and the birds. So, this is the governments involved and the people involved. And, on the face of it, today is a very good day because there's been a reward. Hostages have been exchanged. Each side had hostages. Each side turned over their hostages, and that's great. So people are talking about that. But again, that is only point one of this supposed 10-point solution. Here we have the ring that stands for the peace accord. We've got the felon. We've got the older woman card, and we have the sun. I mean, I hate to do this, but this is yin and yang energy, yang and yin energy. I think this actually is one in this and the same. I think that the felon doesn't have as many cards to play as he thinks that he does. And I don't think that he is the one who's going to hold up this or stand up this peace process. For example, one of the things that he proposed is some sort of council that will help organize things and make sure things go off without a hitch. And who does he want on that council? Or I feel like it's the head of the council, Tony Blair. Can you say colonialism? Like, Tony Blair, are you kidding me? Like, not even somebody from the region. And is Tony Blair still alive? Well, obviously he's still alive. But I mean, it's quite a bad look optically. It's colonialist. It looks imperialist. Um, so he being the felon, does not have the power that he thinks he is. He's going from power to disempowered, and it's going to be abundantly clear very soon because I don't know that I mean, again, the other 9 points of this peace process have not been implemented or even really emphasized. Here we have the house. The clarifiers are the dog, the mountain, and the anchor. So, the White House's wish that everybody be friends is blocked and sunk. And then we have the scales, and the clarifiers are the book, the child, and the ship. So, again, whether or not this is a fair deal is questionable because there are a lot of things that they're not talking about that will disadvantage the Palestinians. So it's a small little piece that will only last but a little while. And I think that what will happen is that oops, problems they'll, how can I put this? There will be problems moving forward as they start to implement the other 9 points. People are going to object, governments are going to object, uh, and the felon will not be able to strong arm them into agreeing. That's what I think. That's what the cards are showing me anyway. Okay. So this next one is a little petty, but we know that, of course, the felon did not win the Nobel Peace Prize. We know he's mad about it. But here's another thing that we know that might strike you as odd, which is that the winner, a woman, Maria Corina Machado, is from Venezuela. If you recall, Venezuela is the country whose boats the felon keeps shooting up, right? He's saying that these boats are trying to bring drugs here or smuggle people here, or whatever he thinks they're doing. And so in international waters, he's shooting these Venezuelan boats. But anyway, the woman who won the Peace Prize is Maria Corina Machado, and she is a politician in Venezuela. She is a conservative politician, and uh, she dedicated the prize, or she accepted the prize, which actually she hasn't really accepted it because that's coming in a month or so. They have their ceremony. But she has accepted in the name of the felon. Like what? So I would like to know, well, and she said she agrees with a lot of his policies. For example, the shooting out of the water those boats, which probably had fishermen on them. She's all for that. So she's a Trumper, and I don't know. I bet you he'll be able to coerce her into giving him the prize. I just want to know, what is she thinking? She's pretty young, so I'm gonna use the young woman card for her. She may look way younger than she is, but I'm gonna use the young woman for, no, you know what? She won the Peace Prize. That's gravitas. I'm gonna use the older woman for her. And I want to know, what was she thinking when she dedicated the prize to the felon? Okay, so we're gonna use the older woman. We'll throw respect on her name, even though she accepted in the name of felon. So weird. So what was she thinking when she did that? Okay, here she is. This stands for Marina Corina Machado of Venezuela, who has won the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, so we have the fox, we have the whip, we have her, we have the scales, and we have fish. So, come to find out, she's one of those people who um, has chosen to agree in advance, wants to curry favor with the felon, knows that, short of saying, "Oh, I refuse, and my wish is that you give the prize to the felon," the next best thing was to say, "Oh, thank you, Nobel Committee. I'd like to accept in the name of the felon." So, the fox. She's too clever by half. She knows, just like the rest of the world and the world's leaders know, how to play him. Just tell him what he wants. Because if you tell him what he wants, he'll reward you. So he could reward her campaign with money. He could reward her government, should she ever be instated as the head of government, with money, favorable nation status, whatever it is. But this is money, it feels like. Um, and this is not to be trusted. It's quite a cynical move, I think, on her part. Uh, I think she's worried about being uh, like, had she not dedicated it to him, I think she was worried about him bad-mouthing her and that causing her problems in the future. So, to avoid that, she tried to smooth over the waters, balance things out by saying, "Well, I know I won, but I'm gonna accept it in your name." You see what I'm saying? She's trying to split the baby to keep the baby felon happy. That's why she did it. Really cynical move, and it's really unfortunate because It's sort of tarnishes her prize, I'm just going to say, tarnishes the committee's decision. It's unfortunate. Okay, finally, this is a big question, and uh, we know that this is a big week for this country. We know that the No Kings March, No Kings protest, which will probably be the largest in history in this country, is due to happen on Saturday. It'll be followed supposedly by a kind of there's a call for sort of, I haven't heard these words yet, but essentially a general strike that would last from the day before Thanksgiving till the following week. But we know he's got his little ice troops scheduled everywhere. And so my question is, will the felon invoke the Insurrection Act in the next 2 weeks? He clearly is confused. I mean, one of the weird things he said yesterday was that um, during January 6th, the Biden administration seated seated um, FBI agents in the crowd to stir up trouble during January 6th. Okay, first of all, not for nothing, as they used to say where I come from in Jersey. Um, he was the president on January 6th, obviously. Remember, he watched it from the dining room, the White House dining room. Remember, he stood up and said, "Oh, I'm going to be marching with you." And then they didn't let him. He was the president. So if there were FBI plants there trying to create trouble, he's the one who put them there, not Biden, whom he's accusing. So he's very confused about time and space, you know? Back in those days, he had people around him who advised against him doing what he wanted to do, which is to declare the Insurrection Act, not against the January 6th protesters, of course, but, Black Lives Matter, whoever. So he does not have those same people around him. He has asked the question before because I did look at this before, and I saw that there were people like Christy Noam and Hegseth and Bondi who advised him, not yet, sir, not now, sir. Do not invoke the Insurrection Act. Well, that was months ago. And again, the 18th, Saturday, promises to be huge and to him, quite the threat. So I'm curious whether he will, prior, during, or in the week after, whether he will invoke the Insurrection Act. Now, of course, invoking the Insurrection Act would mean that he would have the right to um, declare martial law. It's like the precursor to declaring martial law. Uh, Among other things, martial law would allow him to call for a curfew. Like you have to be in your house at a certain time at night and for X number of hours till the morning. There would be troops in the streets, who could stop you on a whim and ask for your papers, which I guess they can already do now. Thank you, ICE. But will he invoke the Insurrection Act? I think I'm going to use the letter, and that will stand for the actual Insurrection Act. Will he sign that into effect in the next 2 weeks? So that's before, during, or immediately after the events of October 18th, Saturday, which is the No Kings protest. So we're looking for the letter, and that will stand for the Insurrection Act. Okay. So we have the rider, we have the book, we have the letter that's standing right now for the Insurrection Act, we have the birds, and we have the felon at his most narcissistic and dangerous. So he will want to send a message. This is the first card. I can mirror it with the last card. He will he will want to send a message. I'm on my hind legs, roaring. I'm the boss of you. So he will want to send the message. Like if he doesn't declare invoke the Insurrection Act, he'll say, I could invoke the Insurrection Act. Don't push me. That kind of thing. Um, Now, the second card in the line is the book. I do think there are absolutely, I can mirror it with the fourth card, the birds, absolutely conversations going on about this, meetings going on around this issue that are secret. So they are talking about this. Uh, and there are people in the administration who could very well say, okay, now's the time. Let the hounds loose. But right now, these are just secret conversations, secret meetings. Okay, so we're going back to the writer. This is for, a message. Clarifiers are the whip, the mountain, and the woman. So what message would invoking the Insurrection Act convey? Well, first one is the whip. It's the card of discipline. Get back. Right? As he whips people back into their homes at curfew, for example, demands that everyone show their papers, etc., has troops on the street. It's a discipline thing to hold people back from revolution, to make them weaker, to weaken them. Of course, we are stronger because we have the numbers, just so you know. There's more of us than there are of them. But that's the intention. The message will be, look, I have this weapon that I can use to keep you all in line. So just bear that in mind as you go out for your little protest on Saturday. That's what his message is. Second card, remember, is about the book, and this is about secrets. Clarifiers are the tower, the fox, and the cross. So what secrets does he have? Do they have? These are, his administration, the government. It's sneaky. For example, if you invoke the Insurrection Act, and so now there's this emergency, what's to say that you don't say, well, I know we were going to have elections in November, but I had to invoke the Insurrection Act. I had to declare martial law, so we won't be having elections. That's this sneaky plan. Now, I can mirror this cross, which is a card of pain, with the book. So they are definitely planning things that will ultimately be harmful to the country, cause pain to the country. Okay, so here's the Insurrection Act, and the clarifiers are the child, clouds, and the shit. So this is the Insurrection Act. They really don't, the left hand in that administration does not know what the right hand is doing. This is the card for that. The the beginner, the not professional, the reckless, the careless, the sloppy. They really don't know what they're doing. But they could very well. I mean, with the ship here, it makes me think he could call it in the next couple of weeks. I'm just a card reader. Energy is mutable, things can change. He's got free will. So, with all of those caveats in place, what I see is a strong likelihood that he could invoke the Insurrection Act. I mean, if not now, then when? The government's shut down, people are not getting paid, the tariffs are making prices ridiculous, right? Of food and everything else. Uh, People are being taken off the street, beaten up by masked thugs for no reason. States are being called war zones when they're not. And you have politicians, both former and current, including Obama, saying we all have to act. This cannot be allowed to stand. So, the soil is ripe for him to declare the Insurrection Act so that he can declare martial law, invoke the Insurrection Act so he can declare martial law. So this is the current line. His thinking right now, as of right now, because this is right now, this line is, yeah, I'm going to do it. Fourth card is the birds. Clarifiers are the scythe, the sun, and crossroads. Now, this is interesting because, as I said, I think his people are meeting around this issue in secret. The scythe is about a decision. But what's interesting is the last two cards. So this is a decision. And the sun is about clarity, awareness. And I don't know, it could be a sharp 180-degree turn where he's gung ho. He really wants to do it. But his advisors, who would be these people, who are, not the best among us, but still are relatively compos mentis, and they say, no, don't do it. Let's try something else. Because Crossroads is about taking a detour, doing something different. So he really wants to do it. Um, hmm. Here he is, the narcissist, and the clarifiers are the young woman, the ring, and then the house. I think, hmm, again, this is him at his most narcissistic. I can mirror him with the White House. In the middle, we've got you know what it makes me feel like? Whether he does or doesn't declare martial law or invoke the Insurrection Act, remember that this is a very yin card, a relatively powerless card. And this ring, which normally I like it. It's the card for a promise. It's the card for marriage. It's a contract, like a job contract, etc. To me, it doesn't feel like that. To me, it feels like him being ultimately disempowered. So should he make this decision, then I guess apparently it's game on. And we're all Antifa, and we will help him out of his chair. So I'm going to read again on this when we get closer to the date, if he hasn't declared it in advance of the date being Saturday. But it definitely is in the air. It's definitely something he would love to do. But I think he knows that if he were to do it, that would be the end of his presidency. Did you see on Air Force One, a reporter asked him, was he so, interested in this peace uh, process in the Middle East because he thinks it'll help him get into heaven? And he said something I thought that was pretty interesting. He said, "Oh, when I say stuff like that, I'm just being a little cute." But then he said, "I really don't think that I am heaven bound." That's interesting. It It bespeaks a conscience, anyway. Uh, to the extent that he believes that there's a heaven or a hell at all, which he may not. To say, I don't think I'm heaven bound, implies that he has not lived the kind of life that would get him there. I wonder what that's about. Hmm, interesting, right? All right. Just a short one today. I will be back soon with another one in a day or so. And I hope you have a great Monday. Happy Thanksgiving and happy Indigenous People Day. Take care.